And we are live. What up, players? Welcome to another episode of Player Life. It is Friday, May 27th, here in Tokyo, Japan. Um, another rainy day here. Damn, I feel kind of shitty today, but all good. Kinda all good. But got a bit of a chest infection. But other than that, um, you know, today I want to talk about how society um, is, how society wants to cuck you, how society wants to put you in your place, how society wants to just put you down in many ways, keep you from being your true masculine self, um, and following your true desires. I saw this interesting documentary that got me thinking about the double standards between men and women. It was kind of interesting, but it was just this documentary on Netflix. It's called Our Father, and it's basically about this fertility doctor who basically used his own sperm to artificially inseminate a bunch of women. you know, and it's the documentary is basically about that. Is it moral? Is it right that he did that? No, but the thing I found interesting about it was that you know, it's like basically the documentary was interviewing all the all the children that were conceived from all these artificial inseminations. And it's kind of crazy because none of these children were basically butthurt because they you know I guess that their father, I mean, they were artificially inseminated, so they wouldn't have known the real father anyway. So it's just kind of, I don't really understand there was a few cases. There was a few cases where they're supposed to use the actual father's semen to artificially inseminate their mother because there was fertility issues and they had to do it artificially. So in those cases, it's kind of fucked up, indeed. But in the other cases where it's like you don't know your father anyway, it's like I don't know why it would really matter. But even though it's not morally correct for the doctor to do it or whatever, it's like it's like you wouldn't exist if the doctor didn't do that. It's like we all come from our fathers. It's like, but it's just kind of interesting. I just want to share the trailer. It kind of got me thinking about today's topic. I have to get in the white guilt there. It's like the fact that they're white. It's like it's disgusting. It's like white people are like white people are fucking pathetic. Just the way they self-loathe, and especially in America, the self-loathing of white people is fucking embarrassing. It's just like fucking idiots. So yeah, there you have it. Um, yeah, it's there you have it. Like I said, this doctor, used his own semen in the fertility clinic. Is it right? Is it morally correct? No, but I guess like at the end of the day, it is. Yeah, I guess it's in all. I mean, as a man, as a male, as a male, our imperative is to spread the seed. So like, it would be very tempting to do that. Like to if you have the opportunity to father a lot of kids without any responsibility, you know, obviously you shouldn't act on it in the way in which he did, but it's just I guess it would just be tempting to do it, and he did it. He fucking did it. But um yeah, I mean, the sperm donors are supposed to be random anyway, or if not random, they were selected. Maybe they're, like I said, I admit, in the cases where um they were supposed to use the actual father's semen, um and then the doctor didn't and used his own. That's pretty fucked up. It is fucked up. I'm not saying it's not fucked up, but it's just kind of weird that the kids would be trying to sue the doctor or their biological father for like basically creating them. Like, it's strange. It's like, you fucking idiot, you wouldn't exist. You literally wouldn't exist if he didn't do that. Like, it's like there's one in, like, you wouldn't exist, you wouldn't be alive. You wouldn't be alive, you wouldn't be on this earth if he never used his own sperm to inseminate their mother. Which was consensual, obviously. Like, they wanted to be inseminated by a sperm donor. But no, it just made me think of like the double standards. Because kind of like society kind of tells us that, especially like modern society, we're kind of living in this polygamous society where everything's dictated to us by the feminine imperative. And there's this kind of prevailing idea in the modern culture that, oh, paternity doesn't really matter because it suits because it suits the female imperative to like cuckold the men. um so much so that in certain countries, I know in France and Germany, I don't know, I didn't research this a lot, but just a quick Google search will tell you that in France and Germany, it is illegal. You cannot do a paternity test um, when the child. I'm sure you can do it if you require it, but it cannot be forced. A paternity test cannot be forced, probably without the mother's consent, in France and Germany. And even more than that, if the father is caught trying to get a DNA test done to ascertain whether the child is actually his or not, he can be prosecuted. You can go to jail for trying to figure that out. So I just find it interesting how when women are affected by it in this very rare circumstance, such as artificial insemination, when they find out that it's not the sperm that they wanted. And obviously, I'm not saying that, you know, they obviously, they should be able to decide, like, they should have control. Like, I'm not saying it's right what he did, but um no, I just find it interesting how, like, in France and Germany, it's illegal. It's illegal to ascertain. It's illegal to try and get a paternity test done. Like, if you don't get, I presume it's if you don't get your wife's permission or whatever. So you have to get your wife's permission, I'm guessing. Um, then you can serve time in prison. Like, that's how hardcore it is. So, like, I just find it. That's how much they're trying to. That's how much they're trying to. Like, literally, the laws and governments are trying to cuckold men. Literally, in law, they're trying to cuckold men. Um, let me just share the screen. Where are we at? Okay. French men's insecurity over paternity of offspring creating a society of doubt. French men. See the language they use as well? The kind of language French men's. Oh, you're insecure. Oh my god, you're insecure. Fuck you, motherfuckers, dickheads. Like, you know, um, just the double standards are kind of crazy if you think about it. Like you losing. Oh, these bitches. Oh, imagine turning it around. Oh, these women are insecure because because they're not because they didn't know whose sperm who the sperm donor was, or they're insecure because you know what I mean. You get what I'm trying to say. Like the double standards. Um, like just that kind of obnoxious, like condescending language. Like you're insecure. Fuck you, dickheads. Imagine an anguished French father sneaking into a bedroom at night to snip a lock of hair or cajoling an infant to obtain a what? Yeah, I mean, if it's your child, you're not gonna have to sneak into their fucking bedroom at night. What the hell is this language? Like, I mean, good lord. Um, imagine an anguished French father sneaking into a bedroom at night to snip a lock of hair or cajoling an infant to obtain a trace of saliva or fingernail cutting. It may sound melodramatic, but there is evidence that thousands of French men are commissioning genetic paternity tests from foreign laboratories every year. And it's like there's this kind of like accusation there it's kind of like the language used in it is like they're accusing men of doing something like sneaky or and at the end of the day they're just trying to ascertain whether they're the real father or not because they might have suspicions that the woman was like you know promiscuous or whatever or maybe they just think that they don't look a lot like the child um if if you don't see yourself in a child, you're gonna want to figure out, and women will, they'll obviously, if you're a beta provider, they're gonna try and hold on to you. They're gonna try and cuck you because they might want to keep you around as a beta provider, as a beta cuckold provider. It enables me to move forward in my relationship with my child, an anonymous father told France 2 television on May 28th. If I hadn't done it, I'd still be wondering whether I was a father. Paternity tests were banned in France 15 years ago. If French customs intercept DNA samples or results in the mail, the perpetrators, in theory, risk up to a year in prison and a €15,000 fine. The French Council of State upheld the law on May 6, saying it did not want to upset the French regime of filiation, and the intent of lawmakers was to preserve the peace of families. On May 15th, the German Bundesrat adopted a similar measure. So, this pretty much relates exactly to the title of today's episode. How society wants to cuckold, how they want to cuckold you, like by law. Like they want you to father children that are not yours. Dictionary definition of being a cuckold. uh, Planet G says, at what age would Japanese women consider as leftover women? 30 or 35? I mean, leftover. Yeah, I mean, 30 is like, yeah, 30 would be. The women certainly start to become even like late 20s in Japan. Like, I mean, like, not that there can't be beautiful 30-year-old women, even 35-year-old women. Still can be, but it's just like you don't really want to. You don't really want to start dating. Like if as a man, you don't really want to start dating a 30 or 35-year-old. Even late 20s. It's just because the reality is like when women get it, the older women get, the more jaded they become, the more it becomes less about the fun. It becomes more serious. Yeah, all like they expect all commitment and all this shit, and it's like they want to be taken on proper dates and all this shit, and it's like, yeah, no, I'm out. I'm out. Like the thing, like when you start dating a woman, like if it's not all about, let me just put up, um, no. Let me just say, when you start dating a woman, if it's not all about passionate, hot sex at the start, then just bounce out. Like if you start dating a chick and like she starts like trying to make conditions to have sex under, like as in like, oh, let's, she starts like withholding sex from, like, so you might hook up with her, then like, what I'm just saying, a woman that is stingy with sex at the very start. If a woman is stingy with sex at the very start, like she might give it out initially, and then she tries to make you take her on dates and do like make all these rules and regulations regarding like having sex with her, like out. Like, you think that's going to get better over time? No, no way. Is that it's not going to get better over time? It's going to get worse. So if it's bad at the start, like it's going to get, like it's going to be non-existent after a short period of time. Like if it's like when you first meet a woman, it should be like insane. It should be like such like insane fucking, you know, there should be a lot of sexual action going on basically. If there's not, fuck that shit. Like get the fuck out of it. It's not, it's going to be like I said, it's going to be after a period of time. If you actually do start dating her and get into a relationship, your sex life will be dead. It'll be fucking dead after a while, because like if there's nothing at the start, if she's being stingy with sex at the start, can you imagine, like can you imagine after a few years after being married, it'll be like non-existent. It'll be nothing. Like, forget about it. Kind of off the topic, but um even I, to answer your question, I would say like late 20s. It depends on the woman too. Like, I mean, if she's super hot, she can get away with it, but she's still not as desirable as her 21-year-old self. I mean, that's the way it is. Like, I mean, it's just they can still be hot, but they weren't as hot. They didn't. They're like, it's like being. It's like how would I describe this? It's like being rich, I guess. I mean, it's like imagine you had $10 million when you were 21 years old, and then when you're 31 years old, you have like $1 million. You still have a lot of money, but you're not, it's not as much as you had when you were 21, it's still like it's okay, but it's like you don't have as much buying power and stuff. So it's pretty much the same with women. It's like it's not that they still can't be bangable, still can't be hot. It's just that they're not as, it's just not as attractive. It's not as good a deal. You're getting a worse deal. Like a way worse deal. I want the $10 million. Thank you very much. And yeah, it's just something that society doesn't want to accept. So yeah, let me just where are we at? Oh yeah. So yet the tests are widely available on the internet and are reportedly sold over the counter in the US. If you Google paternity tests, you'll find 1,180,000 entries, the first of which offers a test in Dublin for €259 in 5 days. According to Professor Jean Paul Mosian, the head of Nantes Atlantic Genetic Institute, between 10,000 and 20,000 Frenchmen buy paternity tests via the internet every year. The Swiss lab GenTest told Le Journal du Dimanche that 60% of up to 3,000 genetic tests it performs annually are ordered by Frenchmen. Spanish lab DNA Solutions said 80% of its 2,500 annual clients are French. Nadine Morano, France's junior minister for the family, says foreign tests are not reliable and warns against the psychological impact of results. She, of course, she, isn't it? It's a chick. It's a chick that doesn't give a fuck, you know. She has spoken of the danger that if all fathers start asking whether they're really the fathers of their children, we enter into a society of doubt that imperils the family. Literally, like, they're admitting to trying to cuckold. The state is admitting to trying to cuckold Frenchmen. What a fucking situation to be in. What a situation where the state is trying to make it illegal to get a paternity test. Fuck that. Fuck that society. Fuck you. Go fuck yourself, cunts. That's what I said at a French establishment. But this is something you could see. I don't know. You could see this happening throughout Western society because Western society is just cocked to the max, and that's just the way things are going. I don't even know, like, I don't know if this is continuing. In France, paternity tests may be carried out only on a judge's orders and with the consent of those involved. Some 1,500 tests are done legally in France each year. So you need a judge. You need a. Can you imagine how crazy that is? Can you imagine, like, you need a judge to ascertain whether or not you're the actual father or not? And women say that we live in a patriarchy. Get the fuck out of here, you motherfucking pricks. Imagine allowing society to cuck you like this. Literally, like, make you into a cuckold. Like, get the fuck, some bitch, like, trying to make you raise another man's children. Like, and you're just trying to get a paternity test to figure out whether it's your child or not. Mother is certain, the father is always uncertain, said ancient Roman law. Very true. The British Medical Journal, the Lancet, reported that 1 in 30 children is not the biological offspring of their putative fathers. In France, a country where infidelity is more often regarded as pleasure than sin, the percentage may be higher. Indeed. 1 in 30. That's about, like, so in every class, like, there's about 30 kids in each classroom, I'm guessing. So if you think about it, 1 in 30 kids, one kid in the classroom. Could be higher, it could be random, but yeah, if you think about it, there was some kid in the class in your class that whose father was not their actual biological father, unknowingly to them. um it's just interesting. Yeah, French psychologists and anthropologists say that filiation is a question of recognition in the eyes of society, not biology. For example, the First Lady Carla Bruni says that late Alberto Bruni Tedeschi was her father because the father is the one who gives the name. But she is close to Marizo Remert, her biological father. Yeah, motherfucker. Women can't decide that shit. Like, it's either you're the biological father or you're not. It's just there's no in between. It's like, are you the biological father or not? Like, it's like, it has nothing to do with name or anything. Like, yeah, sure, it's no, it's blood, man. Names can come and go. You can change your name. You can't change your DNA, idiots. Dickheads. Fuck you, man. This shit, like, yeah. I don't know. It just annoys me. Just annoys me how society tries to cuck men, like, by law. A more serious example of French paternity conundrums is the case of Julien Charnol, whose girlfriend claimed the daughter she bore 3 years ago was a result of rape, but put the infant up for adoption. Charnot later learned that from the judge investigating the rape that the DNA test proved he was the biological father. On May 28th, a French court ruled that the adoption was irreversible in the interest of the child. Charnot says every time he passes a little girl in the street, he wonders whether she's his. He's appealing the court's decision. I'm not sure what's that's referring to, but yeah, I mean, you know, it's like again, society tries to cuck. Yeah, like I think society tries to is one of the most sinister way in which society tries to cuck men is also like that the whole Me Too movement as well. It's like um again, not to say that there's not any kind of sexual assaults. Obviously there are, but um just the kind of like how excessive the whole Me Too movement got when it was like, you know, basically accusing men that say hello to women, or men that try and flirt with women of sexual harassment, and um they're just like way overboard. Like there's you can do no right basically as a man. Like it got to that point where it's like there's no winning as a man. There's no way to do it right. Like so even if it got the whole me, it just it gave women all the power, like all the power to decide. So a man, let's just say a man approaches a woman. Two different men approach a woman. I've talked about this before, but two different men approach a woman. One man approaches a woman, says something, and she's fine with it. It's fine. She gives him her number. They have a date and they fuck. The other man approaches the girl in the exact same way, does the exact same thing, nothing, and she could deem that as sexual assault. So it's all that, like, or sexual harassment or whatever. So it's basically it's giving that women that much power, and that is also another way in which um society is trying to cuckold men, trying to like put men down and put men in their place and give them no power over anything, no say over anything. Um, and that's very sinister and that's very irritating and infuriating, really, to be honest. Um, because we all know that kind of does exist, and that is one of the harsh realities of like the sexual marketplace. Is like there's different standards, different rules depending on who you are as a man. um you know like I said, that is one of the coldest, hardest truths in the sex, like in the dating game, is like that there is there is different rules for different men, depending on who you are. It's if she sees you as a low value guy and you approach her, like, although I don't want to exaggerate, I still like, because guy, but it's more like the psychological effect of the whole the culture that puts men in their place and cucks them basically. So it's like this the whole sentiment, the whole feeling in the air is that, oh, as a man you can't approach a woman that you find attractive, and in a sense you're being cuckolded, because you're like you're not at you're being put in your place, and you're being held back from acting how you want to act, and that's basically you're being cuckolded. um Aronor says, similar to Rolo's kill to party dynamic, no adoption. Um, Aranor says she wants to give the child up so she ride more men and party. Indeed, indeed. Or chase her career. Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's going to be an interesting decade. Well, I mean, especially there's just going to be so many childless insufferable bitches in western societies. Not just western societies either, even in Japan, but there's just going to be so many, like there's just going to be such an insufferable amount of childless single Karens. It's going to be nuts, man. Like I don't think people can comprehend how many children, how many women have missed the baby boat. Like I don't think this has ever happened like in human history, has it? In evolution, like because it's so unnatural. Like if you think about it, there's going to be millions and millions of women that should have multiple children but are not, like they're just childless and washed up. Their eggs are scrambled. That like there's no way they'll ever like girls my age, like I'm 33, so like girls my age are kind of on the precipice of doom. Like, and I don't know. I'm guessing, like, just from what I see, I don't see. Even though I don't have Facebook, I don't check in. I'm not connected to very many like chicks in that I grew up with at all. Like, I mean, almost I just don't have them. Not interested. But from what I see, from what I hear, I don't see a lot of them having. Not only do they not have children, they're not even married, or they don't have like like most of them probably don't even have boyfriends. Dude, it's like it's gonna be unprecedented. Like what happens in like what is society gonna be like? It's gonna be such an insufferable nanny state. I think like the more fucking childless women, the more insufferable and annoying the state becomes, because women don't have that. They don't have the, like, if they had children and a family, they're kind of preoccupied, and they're busy to like they have to care for their children and their family, so they have other things to be worrying about. But when they don't have like children or family, they're fucking naggers, man. They're nagging, like they're at you, they're shouting at kids skateboarding on the street. They're like calling the cops on teenagers. Like they're just annoying fucking people. Like, where's your mask? We saw it all with the whole beer bug thing. Where's your mask? Oh my god! Like, just like absolute insufferable bitches, man. Like, remember that bitch on the plane? Where was it? Um, um, oh yeah, this one. Let me share it. Do you know that society is just gonna have more and more women like this? Where is it at? Woman attacks man on plane. Let's see if this plays it.
Joe Ripley, Atlanta police tonight employees.
Okay.
From the charges that woman could face.
You can't make this stuff up. It is something that is just unbelievable.
It's almost comical, except that it's reality.
I want to find the original. Didn't want the fucking. Didn't have the original. Where is it? Why is it so hard to find the original sometimes? Motherfuckers. But let me see.
Attendants managed to pull her away. at the center of that disturbing clash on a plane. Patricia Cornwall was arrested for allegedly hitting and spitting on a 69-year-old man. So, who is she?
Right. So literally, we're gonna have a society fucking full of these absolute fucking bitches, man. We're gonna have like a fucking zombie apocalypse of these fucking 304 insufferable fucking bitches, man. Like, I swear to God, that's coming. Like, that, it's already here in a way. It's not only coming, I just think it's going to get worse, and there's going to be more of them. Women, like, when women like are single and post wall, and their eggs are dried up, I hate to say, I'm not saying that they can't be nice. I'm not saying that there's not any nice women that are post wall and have dried up eggs, but I'm just saying they're way less likely to be tolerable. They're going to be way more likely to be intolerable, in my opinion. Danny Arnold says, cuckolded by society's so-called norms. Being a nuclear level Karen and knowing it's the end of the line for you, that's got to be a horrible, miserable place to be. Indeed, indeed.
Cornwall now works as a realtor, but she used to be a Raiderette cheerleader. She's also a former actress who appeared on Married with Children and Baywatch under the name Patty Breton.
You won the bikini contest in Palm Springs last year.
The criminal complaint obtained by Inside Edition says the class.
That's fucking hilarious. Actual post-wall, man. These women cannot handle it, you know? One of the most savage like takedowns for these hoes is when like they used to be the hot shit. Because the reason that women become so bitter is because they were fucking lied to by society. Lied to by society. Told lies, man. These women were told lies. They were told they were equal to men. They were told that, oh, you know, there's no such thing as a biological clock. There's no such thing as the wall. You know, you can be a high value woman. You're, you know, all your travel experiences, all your degrees, all the shit. You know, it'll make you a more attractive. It'll make you more attractive in the sexual marketplace. No, it doesn't mean shit. We don't give a fuck. In fact, it's worse. It's like the more a woman has traveled, the more, you know, the more educated a woman is, the more work experience, the more all this shit. It's the less marriageable she becomes, because, you know, it's like, listen, at the end of the day, the more sexual partners a woman has had, the less likely the less likely you are to have been her best. That's just the math behind it. It's not that you couldn't be her best, but even still, you don't want to be hooking up. You don't want to be getting into a relationship with a woman that has a ton of sexual experience, because she's going to be way more likely to, like, you know, bounce on, you know, cheat, all that stuff. It's just the way it is.
Ash started when Cornwall was returning from the bathroom and found the beverage cart blocking the.
But anyway, that's we all remember that. We all remember that, how it, yeah. But, you know, I'm just saying, like, you think like there's going to be less of those women? Like, do we really think there's going to be less women like that going forward? No, of course not. There's going to be more. There's going to be way more. That's just like that's the cold. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but like, it's just like, it's just, unfortunately, there's no way there's going to be less of those women. There's going to be more. Do we all agree on that? I think we'd have to all agree on that point. Danny Arnold says, just wait until millennial broads start reaching ages 45 and 50. It's going to be even worse than when the Gen X bras begin hitting 50 and 55. Yeah, man, these childless women, that were were brought up, people blowing smoke up their ass, telling them they're boss babes, they're like strong and independent, and like, oh my god, can you imagine? Like, there's just gonna be so many. There's gonna be so many of them with nothing to do, other than their shitty office jobs, and just their complaints. They're just gonna be complaining to society. They're going to be complaining to government for more regulations and all this shit and more rules and more this, that, and the other. Oh, why are the kids skateboarding? Oh, we need to ban them. We need to ban skateboarding. It's dangerous. We need to stop this. Stop this, stop that, stop the other. No this, no fun. Basically, they're just going to be annoying, man. They're going to be very annoying. Arnor says, former 10 out of 10 hottie, now she's depreciated to her salvageable value. Nah, dude, she's done. She is done, man. That's why she's all fucked up and kooky in the head. Yeah, but I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, yeah, paternity tests are banned in Germany as well. Let me see. Let me share this. Germany bans secret paternity tests. Okay. So, last month, Germany banned secret paternity tests from being carried out without the consent of those involved. It was the lower house of Germany's parliament which sanctioned the ban, and the new laws are quite comprehensive. The rules do not only cover paternity tests for adults and children, but also any prenatal tests which people might wish to carry out too. The German government claimed that the ban is intended to stamp out any abuse of paternity tests, with some reports suggesting that until recently fathers could and would take a swab of a baby's saliva and then get it tested against their own DNA without informing the mother of the child. The ban means that any man choosing to do this will be fined. And that is fucking hilarious. Like, just think about that. Yeah, and supposedly, again, we live in a patriarchy. Oh my god, a patriarchy. It's like, fuck you, man. It's like, look at that. Without informing the mother of the child. Like, I mean, so they don't give a fuck about the father of the child. Like, it's all about the mother, the protection of the mother. The women have all the fucking power without any of the responsibility. All of the power without any of the responsibility. Like, men have to financially provide. Like, there should absolutely, like, I think there should 100% be, like, paternity tests should be, like, mandatory. Like, well, I don't think anything should be, like, mandatory, but, like, because I don't believe in, like, forced bullshit. But, like, there should absolutely be no, like, there shouldn't need to be any, like, if a man wants a paternity test and he's being told he's the father, then it should just be like, oh yeah, the doctor just takes a paternity test. Like, if his name is going to be on the birth cert, if he's going to be, it should, like, 1,000%, of course there should be a paternity test. Like, it should always be a paternity test done, even for medical reasons. It should be like, we need to, like, just in case, like, there's, like, like I said, for medical reasons, in case there needs to be, in the future, just to ascertain whether it's, actually is, you are actually the father of the child. After more than 7 years of debate on legislation regarding the ethics and fundamentals of genetic testing on human beings, the ban was finally sanctioned. However, it will still need to be assessed by the upper houses of Germany's government before being put fully into effect. The new rules that mean that only qualified professionals can engage in paternity tests, and that anyone whose DNA might be involved must formally provide their consent for the test to be lawful. Anyone who violates the ban by breaking these rules will be issued a hefty fine of €5,000. In addition to the standard paternity tests, which are affected by the new rulings, the former DNA tests will also be banned. For example, parents are not allowed to find out the sex of the unborn child using DNA tests at all. They are also prohibited from finding out whether their child will be genetically predisposed to any specific diseases as it matures, except in certain strict cases. So yeah, who do you think this benefits? Like it obviously benefits women. Do you think like men were out advocating for this ban? You think any man, unless he's an absolute cuckold little bitch, was out advocating for a ban, a new rules like this? Of course not. It was women that was out. That I guarantee it was, or it was some. I'm not saying it couldn't have been a man, because there are absolute beta bitch made men out there, but it's in the it's putting the interests of women way ahead of men, obviously. In this case, how does it doesn't benefit men in any way, but the right thing to do would be to have a paternity test. I think any normal, rationally minded human being would agree with that. But no, it's like, no, we can't have actual equality. We need to actually, put women ahead of men and give women all the advantages, and then pretend that they're the ones that are disadvantaged. That's another way in which society cuckolds men, like cuckolds the fuck out of men by pushing this narrative that women are always the victims when women are actually the ones that have an advantage over men. That's the most fucking infuriating thing about modern society. It's just like when it's literally the opposite. It's like me in Japan. It's like me as a white man in Japan. It's like I'm constantly told that like I have some kind of, like, by everyone, basically, by foreign people, by Japanese people, that I have some kind of like advantage in the sexual marketplace in Japan. And it's like, it's literally the opposite. It's literally the opposite. Like, as a foreigner in Japan, it's literally the opposite. Like you're at a disadvantage. You're at a disadvantage. Like, when it comes in the sexual marketplace, like you're not the pick of the litter as a foreign guy in Japan. This is a myth, and I've explained it before. But it's like the only people the only chicks you have an advantage with are a small percentage of girls that like foreign guys, and I've explained it before. Those kinds of girls they're a small percentage of chicks in Japan. Most Japanese chicks, for the most part, don't have so much interest in foreign guys. They might have some, but they're not particularly interested in that kind of guy. I've explained it before. I've shown pictures of the kind of guys Japanese girls are into. Yeah, it's just, they look different. They look way more feminized. They're not the kind of guy I look like, or that I want to look like. But it's the same. It's like Western society says that women are the victims, men are evil, misogynists, and this, that, and the other, and that we have such a huge advantage, and we're all, and it's in a lot of cases, it's literally the opposite. It's literally the fucking opposite. And it's just hilarious. It's just hilarious how people fall for that shit. It's like literally the fucking opposite. The same thing with white privilege. Oh, white privilege is like, it's like bullshit. It's like that shit got imported to Ireland as well. It's like, what the fuck? Like, Danny Arnold says, women, given just how much women commit paternity fraud, paternity testing absolutely should be made available to the alleged father if he wants it. Yeah, exactly. If he wants it. It should be absolutely. If he doesn't want it, if he wants to be a cuck, that's fine. Let him be a cuck. Let him be a cuck. I believe in freedom of choice. It's all about freedom of choice. If you want to be a cuck, go ahead and be a cuck. But if you want to know if it's whether you're the actual father or not, it should be like, it's insane. Think about it. Think about it. The government is trying to enforce you to be a cuckold. Like, you need to get consent. Like, it's like the bitch can basically go and, from what I gather, the bitch can say you're the father, and then you can be forced to be the father. I'm sure in that case has to be a court case, and where you have to go and prove, like, so you're basically guilty until proven innocent. That's kind of my hot take, but that's what I gather from it, is that if if some woman can claim, oh, he's the father, and then you're not the father, and then you have to the state views you as being guilty until proven innocent. So then you have to go and try and go to court and prove that you're not a father. I think the same thing is held in Japan. Women can go and say he's the father, and then you can deny it, and then you can be like, I'm not the father, and then you can go and like have to go to court and have to do all this paternity shit. It can't just be done. It can't just be cleared up, because it's like we live in a matriarchy where women, everything gets held, laws and rules and regulations are made in favor of women. It's literally the opposite. It's constantly rammed down our throats that it's like, oh, it's a patriarchy. Everything's like, women don't have a chance, and it's like I don't know. Then he says, the expression, eggs are expensive, sperm is cheap. Men need to start regarding their seed as highly expensive. Guys cannot afford to let these broads sperm jack them. It can ruin your life. Indeed. Yeah, it's just got me thinking, just got me thinking that the Netflix series, not series, next Netflix documentary is called Our Father. It's just the double standards. There's I think there was some guy in, where was it? Some guy in Denmark that was a sperm donor, and he was I don't know, some Chad or some shit that was selling his sperm, and I think he's fathered like hundreds of children. Was it Denmark? Can if anyone has seen that story? I can't remember what it was. Sperm, maybe it'll come up. Sperm donor fathers hundreds of children. Sperm donor fathers hundreds. Let me see if I can pull it up. Oh shit. Trying to find that story. There was some case, man. Anyone remember that story? But no, my point is, some like, if you're a Chad, like, and have good genetics, women will want your seed. They'll be fine with it. But since it was like, it's just amazing, like how, but if you're not a Chad, if you're not that guy, like the doctor, like the fertility doctor, he obviously he wasn't a Chad, or he's like an old doctor. Since it was him, these chicks were not, the women were obviously were not happy about it. And again, I'm not saying it was right that he did that he used his own sperm, but it's just funny. It's like, make rules for the beta and break rules for the Chad, but again, the weirdest thing about that documentary was, it's kind of like, it's one thing for the mothers to be like upset or angry about kind of getting deceived about whose sperm was used to inseminate them, but it's weird for the children to be like, it's very strange for the children, and it seemed to be that the female children of the doctor seem to be most aggrieved by it. And it's strange because, like, bitch, like, you wouldn't exist. You wouldn't exist if he didn't do that. Like, he literally gave you life. Like, you fell. Although it wasn't moral that he did it. Like, he should have followed protocol, and you like followed the fertility clinic's protocol to use the sperm donors sperm donors sperm to inseminate the women. It's like, you ungrateful motherfucker, like, you literally exist because he used his own sperm. You came from him. Like, I don't know, do these children get that? Like, are they thinking it through? Like, do they understand that? I don't know. It's just kind of strange. Like, they tried to sue him. They tried to put him in jail. It's like, what? Like, you wouldn't exist, bitch. Like, strange. I don't know. I just find it very strange. Like I said, one thing for the mothers to be like, want to sue him, and even then it would be kind of weird because you're like, it would be kind of insulting to their kids, because, like, I don't know. It's a kind of a conundrum, but yeah, I just think it's very weird, um, for the kids to be like trying to put him in jail. This is like, you came from him. Like, you wouldn't exist. You literally wouldn't exist. But again, I don't know, and it seemed to be that the female, like, I don't know. It's just like, nothing infuriates a female more than them kind of losing control over paternity or their reproductive. They want like a 100% authority over their reproductive rights without any kind of responsibility. And they don't want to they want men to have 100% responsibility without any authority. So that's what's going on, really. So they're trying to really, really cuckold men really hardcore in today's society. It's like they're trying to give men all responsibilities. So much so that they're trying to, like, cuckold men. They're trying to make men financially pay for children that aren't theirs. Like, that's how hardcore it is, really. Like, what other reason is there for it? They're trying to make it illegal for paternity tests. I mean, that's like the government telling you. That's them telling you that what they're trying to do. There's no other reason for it. That's the obvious reason for it. And that's what's so fucking outrageous about it. That's what's so unbelievably outrageous and infuriating about it. It's like, and what's so annoying about these women saying that we live in a patriarchy, and we don't. And men aren't allowed to have any opinion about abortion. We're not allowed to have any opinion about it whatsoever. Oh, you don't have a say. You're a man. It's like, and then they're like, there's no difference between men and women. It's like, fucking retards. Oh man, it's like, you can't win. You go nuts if you really think about how stupid society is, for supporting the nonsense. Danny Arnold says, I'm not defending what he did, of course, but how hypocritical is it that they make him out to be a villain, but when abroad, sperm jack's an innocent dude, there's no punishment whatsoever? Indeed. Yeah, I mean, obviously it wasn't right what he did. Apparently he didn't break any laws at the time, because there was no like, in the state, I'm not sure what state it was, but there was no law to state that the doctor at the time. There was no law to state that the sperm, the fertility clinic doctors couldn't use their own sperm. It's kind of a, but yeah, I mean, it's not right what he did, but at the same time, it's like, It, again, like I said, I can understand that the mothers being upset, but like, it's just weird because it's like for the kids to be upset about it. You could be upset about it, but to want to put him in jail, it's like it, just to comprehend the fact that if these kids, if his offspring really understand that they literally wouldn't exist, like they wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the fact that he did that. So that's why it's kind of a complicated situation, but it's just weird. It's like it's kind of ungrateful. It's like be a little more grateful for his for him doing what he did. Like it's like would you rather not exist? And if you rather wouldn't exist, then that's fine. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's like that meme. It's like where's that meme? I don't know. This meme comes to mind. Road. Remember that meme where the women are where is it? Nah, there's some meme where it's like there's some dude, he's no, there's some dude working construction work or he's like down breaking his back, and there's like two women walking by and they're like, oh, I'm so oppressed. That's like Western society. It's like men still have to have all the responsibility, like do all the heavy work, all the shit jobs, and you know, it's like they're still not appreciated for it. So, if we want true equality in society, then we should have equality in all sectors of work. So there should be 50-50 in construction work. There should be, and whenever you say shit like that, you know, you know, like if we're gonna have gender quotas in any job, why not have gender quotas in all jobs? So it's like, women only want gender quotas in the cushy, piss easy jobs where you can like have a comfortable office and do fuck all every day and get good pay. But they don't want gender quotas in in logging, in construction work, in plumbing and all these jobs. No, they don't want gender quotas in that because men and women are not equal and they wouldn't be able to do as good a job. Shit would never get done well. Danny says, moreover, when a man pleads with a girl not to abort his child, she can basically tell him F you and do it anyway, and he is absolutely powerless to prevent her from going through with it. Indeed. So again, women want 100% authority over their reproductive rights and 0% responsibility, and they want men to have 100% responsibility and 0% authority. So it's just pretty fucked up society we live in. It's kind of, and it's quite infuriating if you like sit down and think about it, because it's just so infuriating because it's like we're constantly told that men are the oppressors when we're the ones that are like have to have all responsibility with zero authority. It's the most infuriating situation to be in. It's so infuriating because it's literally that's the way it is. It's like you have 100% responsibility, 0% authority. You have no say. Oh, you're a man. No, men, like just the amount of contradictions and bullshit there is. It's so ridiculous. It's like that. There's no difference between, like, I don't know. It's just we live in it's the most in Western society. I hope it. In a way, I want it to burn, crash and burn. Um, it's like the whole narrative, Western narrative. There's no difference between men and women. We're all equal. We're all the same. It's like men and women. Oh, like men are paid. Men are pigs and all this shit. Transgender women are women, and then transgender women are women. Then the transgender goes into a school and shoots it up, kills shoots a bunch of innocent children. Obviously innocent. It's like Jesus Christ. Um, and then it's like, oh, like toxic masculinity. It's like, oh, I thought transgender women are women. I thought transgender women are women, and now they're calling it, when it suits them. It's like, oh, it's toxic masculinity. Oh, that's not a woman. That's not transgender. Oh, she wasn't. She was never transgender. That's a man. It's a man now. Is it okay? All right, because he went and shot up a school. Is it? Oh, okay. So when he does if they do something bad, okay, it's toxic masculinity. Oh, but when it's fuck Western society, let it crash and burn. I'm done with it. It's like that's the reason I don't really want to live there. It's like because I just can't handle the contradictions and the garbage really. Um, um, you know, it's just can you really imagine it's gonna get better over time? Hmm. Hmm. Like, you know, has West the more freedom women get, the more authority women have in society, and the less authority men have, the worse society appears to become. It seems to become worse and worse and worse. It's like even in Japan, it's something I've talked about before, but um, if if I go out, like a lot of people have dogs, like there's quite a lot of dogs in Japan, but it's always the women. Like whenever you see a chick with a dog in Japan, if you're sitting in a cafe or some cafe, restaurant, whatever, wherever, the park, whatever, even just walking down the street, it tends to be it's always the chicks that have the least well behaved dogs. It's just something about them. It's always like there'll be some little chihuahua or something, and I'll be walking by, and the dog will start barking like a little fucking, like a little cheeky little rat. Like will start like barking, like it'll bark away at you or something. And it's always a chick, and it's never a guy. It's never a guy that has, like, whenever a guy has a dog, the dog never behaves like that. It's always a chick, and like you can also make that analogy with with children. Like if a single mom raises a child, it's like you know it's going to be far more less likely to be raised well. It's the child's going to just have these disciplinary issues, and um just gonna just isn't going to be as well disciplined because the child had no authority growing up, was never disciplined properly. The mother just doesn't know how to discipline the child, and that's like when you zoom out on society, and when that happens on a large scale in society, then you're gonna have a kind of a messed up society. And I guess that's what happens, what is happening, what has happened, and what continues to happen in Western society. um it's but it's I can't imagine it's gonna get better anytime soon, because like what's the incentive to participate as a man when, like I said, you have 100% responsibility and zero authority? Like there's no reward, it's all downside. Like it's all like you're not, even if you do, even with all the responsibility, you don't get any thanks for it. You're still like you're still a villain. You're still, it's always like, no, you're not really appreciated doing what you do. It's like if a man achieves something, it's always like, oh, but a woman did this, a woman did that, and it's like, but she could do it too. And it's like, just never ends, really. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't want to. I just don't want to be cucked by society. So don't want to be live in a society that promotes cuckoldry. Because it just sucks. I imagine even to be honest, I imagine somewhere like Japan probably has a high rate of cuckoldry too. I'm not exactly sure about the paternity test laws here. I imagine they're probably more based than Western society. I'm sure they're available. I doubt they're legal, although I'm not sure. I can't really. I should research that, but just since it's a homogenous society, it would probably be easier for Japanese women to cuckold their men, because I mean they have a lot more similar features than people in Western societies do, as in like they have the same color hair, same skin tone, same color eyes. So like, yeah, Japanese Asian people probably get pissed off. Oh yeah, it's racist or whatever. But they have more, like, let's be objective. They have more similar features. Like, I don't give a fuck. They do. So it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be harder to distinguish. Uh, like whether or not, yeah, like if you're not the father, if you're not the real father, it's gonna be less obvious. Let's just say, Japanese people get real pissed off when I say that, but I don't give a fuck. It's true. It's true. Like, it's gonna be less obvious. Like it is. Like they all like black. They all have roughly. They all have black hair. Sometimes slightly brownish. They all have either black or brown eyes. They all have slightly tan skin. Like, um, it's just it would be easier to for women to commit paternity fraud here, for them to cuckold their men. Facts, like it is. I'd love to see a study on it. Actually, I would love, and I know Japanese women do cheat. They absolutely do cheat. 100% they cheat. I know a lot of women that cheat. I've cheated with a lot of women. So they absolutely, and it's widely known that Japanese women are promiscuous. Like they have a love hotel culture here. Like like you can find love hotels for sex. They're everywhere. Like they're basically hotels for sex, and like, so it just has that culture. Like you can go there anonymously, and you can, they're used for cheating, like all the time. They're all used for all sorts of reasons, like, but like just for even regular couples hooking up. But yeah, it's fun. It's hilarious whenever sometimes I bring that topic up to Japanese people, Japanese chicks, and I'm like, it's probably a few times they always get pissed off when I say, like, it would be easier for sometimes even in conversation on a date with a chick, I'll be like, so do you look like so how many siblings do you have, or do you have a, so do you look like your mother or your father? And sometimes they'll be like, oh no, I don't look like my father or something. And I was like, oh, maybe your mother, just as joke. I'm trying to get a reaction. Like, it's just joking around, but I was like, oh, maybe your mother was a naughty girl, and they get so pissed off. But obviously, some of them, I'm trying to make them laugh, but it is interesting though. Yeah, I genuinely am curious about like, I'd love to. I'd love to, I got to check out, have there been any studies done? Like, how prevalent is cuckoldry in Japanese society? That would be an interesting, although it's hard to ascertain, because how do you do a study on that? Because it's like, it could really, yeah, obviously destroy families. You're not gonna, like, you're not gonna go into a school and be able to do do a survey or do tests on all the kids and their parents to ascertain paternity, because that could destroy families, right? If you as a father have been raising a child for 10 years and you figure out it's not your wife, it's not your child, and your wife had cheated on you, and they would obviously destroy the family. Danny Arnold says, "Oh, maybe your mom was friendly with the milkman." Yeah, man, you wouldn't believe how like people think that these stories don't actually happen. Like they think that like this is only fictional, and like these kind of like women banging the postman and stuff. Like, it's shit. Shit like this literally can happen. Like maybe not literally the milkman, but um. I've told a story before on this podcast about how my one of my coworkers, back when I used to teach in a school, he came home, forgot his phone at home, went back home to collect it, and his wife was banging some random dude from her part-time job apparently, and yeah, like literally banging in his house. So that was in Japan too. So I mean, he was Japanese. So this shit does happen, for real. But all we can do as red pill men is go against, swim against the tide, not allow society to cuckold us, and give a big fuck you to tell society to go fuck itself, and not follow the fucking, not be subdued by all the bullshit, because it's just like, I don't know, it's just you got to do everything in your power to fight against it, and not allow yourself to be bitch slapped around by women and society. That's why part of the reason why I'm such a that's part of the reason why I love Daygame, because it's like it's such a like a fuck you to society. It's like I'm not gonna be subdued. I'm not gonna be cuckolded. I'm not gonna be told that I can't do this. I'm not gonna be told that I'm not allowed to like talk to women that I find attractive. You know, because society wants you to know your place. It's like, sit down, motherfucker, sit down. You're not allowed to do this. You have to download your dating apps. You have to like allow you have to sit in your place until a woman chooses you. That's what society's telling us. It's like, oh, you didn't get any choosing signals. Sit in your fucking place. Allow women, you have to wait for women until women choose you. That's what society tells you. But I'm saying, fuck you. I'm gonna go and like live out my male imperative. I'm gonna talk to women that I find attractive, and I'm gonna continue to have sex with hot young women. I'm not gonna. Oh, you're such a creep. Oh, you just like young women because they're easier. It's like, get the like, yeah, I like young women because they're like, it's just hilarious the kind of cope these older busted post-wall women have. Like, oh, it's just you just want to talk to, you just like hooking up with younger women because they don't, you're able to manipulate them. And it's like, it's such cope. It's like, no, they're hotter, they're less jaded, they're less annoying, and yeah, but mainly they're hotter. Like that's it. Like, they're hotter, they're more fertile, they're sexier. It's literally as simple as that. And generally they're less annoying. Although they can still be annoying, but they tend to be less jaded. They're honestly more pleasant to be around, because they still have like, there's still an innocence about they still have a lust for life that isn't like jaded by them being dicked around by chads and being getting kind of like, disillusioned by because women are so, modern women are so disillusioned by like the modern like sexual marketplace, because like they really don't understand the difference between dateability and bangability. That is what is really fucking up the sexual marketplace for women, because they really overestimate, they really overvalue their dateability. So they're basically overvaluing their SMV, their sexual marketplace, but their sexual market value, because it's so easy for them to get laid. And what women don't understand is that there's a big fucking difference between dateability and bangability. Um, and just because men are willing to fuck them does not mean that they're willing to date them. So that's why women overvalue their SMV, like way overvalue it, and that's why they end up getting just pumped and dumped because they're punching up way too high. So these women are getting with guys that are basically way out of their league and getting pumped and dumped by them, and they just think that they feel entitled to these guys, but at the end of the day, they're not going to be able to lock one of these guys down because these guys are out of their league. And the thing is, men for sex, men will punch down all the time. I mean, I've done it. I know guys that have done it. I mean, it's in our nature to pump and dump. It's in our nature. So, but yeah, I don't know, guys. I gotta roll out. But let me see. Before Danny Ireland says, just imagine how devastating it would be to find out your son isn't actually yours. Just imagine how devastating it would be to find out your father isn't actually your dad. Yeah, I mean, that's the real crime. Women should be punished for that. I mean, that's the real fraud. You know. Oh, See, that's why I found that that Netflix documentary was interesting, because it was like, it's showing the case in which women are the victims of kind of paternity fraud, and that only kind of can exist in that circumstance where it's artificial insemination. That kind of paternity fraud can't exist in the natural world, because it's always like women always kind of know who they're having sex with, right? But men never can know, right? They can never really know for sure. Um, but yeah, it's the same thing with the Tinder swindler. Like, it's all the sympathy is given to females. Like, it's always the sympathy. Like, men get swindled out of money from women, like left, right, and center every fucking day of the week, all around the world, like hundreds and thousands of times every day. And the few times it happens, the one time it happens to a woman, it's like outrageous documentaries made about it, all this shit. But there's no documentaries made about women. There's no documentary and sympathy given to men that are, fucking frauded, have experienced paternity fraud at all. So Tiny says, I would say this: a 30s Asian chick is probably going to be more desirable to me than a 30s Western broad, especially if she's from overseas. Oh yeah, I mean, they definitely age better for sure. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna gotta go and do some things. But as usual, like, comment, subscribe. Check out the link in the description if you wanna if you wanna sort out, you wanna learn about Daygame, cold approach, how to pick up women from real life, best way to do it, better than all these shit dating apps, and it's just the best way to meet women. So check it out. And today is Friday, so yeah. Have a good weekend. I will be back on Monday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, have a good weekend. Bye bye. Peace out.